This is all part of a plan. As I said earlier, revolution is not possible without some kind of infiltration of the justice system. I did a show on this a couple of years ago. The biggest poison in our justice system is George Soros. He has been buying district attorneys all over the country since at least 2015. He has poured millions to try and reshape the justice system. Look, here, let me give you some good news. I've been on George Soros for 15 years. For the first time, I am hearing people that don't vote the same way saying, I think that guy's a problem. You can only cry racism or anti-Semitism so long. People are seeing the fruits of his labor. He can't do these things at the federal level. So he switched gears and went directly to the states. In 2015, he bought DAs in Louisiana, Mississippi, Texas, Illinois, and New Mexico. All of them had plans to scale back arrest, decriminalization, basically everything we're now hearing from the radicals on the streets. In 2017, Soros pumped $1.45 million to swing the DA election in Philadelphia. It's happening all over, from California to New York. They've been planning at least since 2015. These radical DAs are moving faster than perhaps Soros could have anticipated. Flash mob looting is breaking out in cities where they have begun implementing their revision of the justice system. It is completely out of control in many places, including San Francisco. Why? Well, their new district attorney is the radical Chesa Boudin, whose parents were both convicted felons. Okay, but what did they do? Don't worry, they were just members of the Weather Underground and Black Liberation Army. So it's no surprise now their radical son is decriminalizing criminal activity, and crime is breaking out all over the city. Which brings us full circle to last week in Waukesha. The radical as the DA in San Francisco is, this radical DA actually claims that he was inspired by Waukesha District Attorney John Chisholm. Really? They both spoke together earlier this year on the status of what could only be described as the progressive prosecutor movement. All of these district attorneys are using the exact same playbook: decriminalize crime, impede police from arresting criminals, and make easy for anybody who is a criminal to get out of jail. Well, as we saw last week, this radical agenda has consequences. The person responsible for the Waukesha massacre now has been charged with 6 homicides after ramming his vehicle through their annual Christmas parade. He is a convicted sex offender. He is also recently charged with reckless endangerment and illegal possession of a firearm. But you don't need a gun to kill people. Earlier this month, he allegedly punched his girlfriend and, get this, then tried to run her over with his SUV. Clearly, this man should not have been out on the streets. He should not have been able to do what he tried to do to his girlfriend and what he did do to these poor innocent people at the Christmas parade. But the district attorney, he set his bail ridiculously low, and so he was set free. Now he's got another story, but we can't really figure out what happened at that trial where they were arguing about the bail because it's mysteriously gone or corrupted. This is outrageous, but it is what the left has in store for every city in the country, including yours. These policies have consequences, and the most insane part of this is the radicals know it. Here's an interview from Chisholm in 2007. After facing questions on his radical agenda, he said, and I quote, "Is there going to be an individual I divert or I put into a treatment program who's going to go out and kill somebody? You bet. guaranteed. It's guaranteed to happen. But it doesn't invalidate the overall approach. How many times have we heard the left say, if it just saves one life? Well, 6 people are now dead. They'd be alive today if it wasn't for the progressive prosecutor movement funded by George Soros. I wonder if that attorney, that prosecuting attorney, will now concede that it does invalidate the overall approach. Newt Gingrich has been blackballed by Fox News. Did you know that? Do you remember why? Well, it happened last year after Newt said this.
The number one problem in almost all these cities is George Soros elected left-wing, anti-police, pro-criminal district attorneys who refuse to keep people locked up.
Oh my gosh, what was he saying? He's a crazy man, except everything he said right there is entirely and provably accurate. What's happening with Fox News? It was known at the time that George Soros was buying radical progressive DAs. If you watch me, you knew about it 5 years ago. Anywhere you look in those cities, I can show you a Soros link to their transforming justice system. Wonder if you could do the same thing in Waukesha and John Chisholm. That's got to be hard. Well, let's just look. He currently sits on the Data Council for a radical group called Measures for Justice. They advocate for all the crazy junk we're seeing in places like San Francisco. Their CEO, Amy Beck, once received a cash prize from George Soros Open Society Foundation. Oh my gosh. Well, okay, what are the odds? Well, beyond that, the Open Society Foundation is proudly listed as one of Measures for Justice founding supporters. You won't find these connections anywhere at all in the mainstream media, ever. We all used to be able to count on Fox, but they are clearly an entry-level problem when it comes to the media. When it comes to Soros, what are these progressive DAs doing? The support they're getting from all of the people within the federal government, the media is full on set to help them cover up the truth from you and me. This Waukesha tragedy is crucial because it exposes everything from the media to the DAs to Soros, all of it. And it is no surprise the unprecedented misinformation cover-up the mainstream media has launched immediately following. I want you to listen to these reports. This is from CBS.
We are also hearing from the uncle of one of the 18 children hurt in the crash on Sunday. David Beck reports on how one 11-year-old girl is doing.
Okay. Well, let me go back and listen to what CBS News, what do they call what happened in Charlottesville? It was, quote, the suspect in the car attack. But this time, when it's caused by a convicted criminal that was improperly let out of jail by a progressive district attorney, it's just a crash. Let's check MSNBC. It was even worse.
Whether it has anything to do with this accident last night and the killing of these people.
So it's an accident. Here's how they handled Charlottesville. Quote, driver in deadly car attack. Here's Politico, a parade crash. Oh my gosh, that sounds like a funny movie. A parade crash? The Associated Press, a parade crash. Wow, it's almost like they're receiving narrative from a single source, Media Matters, and then blasting it out like good little propagandists. It's all too clear the media did actually no real journalism on this whatsoever. No thinking human being could print or speak on the air what they said and actually think it was accurate.